From the gateway to bourbon country in Louisville, Kentucky, welcome to the Firkin Podcast, where every drink tells a story. Make sure to check us out on the web at firkinpodcast.com. Join the mailing list and find all of our links out there. Hey, Chris, man, how you feeling after last night?
Buddy, last night, I gotta tell you, I had a little, I indulged too much.
You and me both.
Yeah, somebody once told me that you could try to blame it on somebody and be like, I was overserved. No, I wasn't overserved. I kept going to the bar and I kept taking
Yeah, they
drinks.
weren't serving us.
They weren't serving.
We were
just sitting
going up
there.
and getting ourselves.
And you know, it was one of those things like when you look back at it, you're like, gosh, I didn't eat enough yesterday. I was like, this explains so much. How are you? Because you went with me.
Man, you know, early this morning I was feeling a little rough, but I'm feeling better now. Had some coffee in my system, and that brought me back around.
Some coffee in there.
I did.
Kind of segues into our guest.
It does.
So we have single barrel curator and owner, founder of Stave and Bean Coffee Company, John, and I always say your last name wrong, John.
It's okay. No one ever gets it right. It's Wadell.
John Wadell.
Wadell.
Right.
Waddell.
I was on Wadell hard.
You should have done Wadell because it
Wadell.
kind of gives it that, that accent. John Wadell.
You see, it'd be two D's. I spelled
That's
it
right.
1, 2 L's.
Yes.
But we met some people from Scotland. They're like, yeah, you messed up your last name.
You fucked up.
Yeah.
Why'd you do that?
They're like, somewhere along the line, your last name got messed up.
Those aren't his only accolades. He's also like a podcast superstar.
He is a podcast superstar because if you look up John, John has, I'm pretty sure he's been on every podcast, like all of them.
I think so.
I
All
love
of
it,
them.
man. The podcasts are like some of my favorite
They're
things
so much
to do.
fun, dude.
Man,
They're so much fun.
get I don't want to say get paid, but you get to drink, hang out with people you love and know in the industry. It's always a good time.
Get paid in fun points, man.
Yeah,
That's right.
That's right.
So we are a drinking podcast, but we're going to start this one a little different than we normally do
different,
because
yeah.
normally we just go straight to whiskey, John. So because you're, the founder of a coffee company, we're going to do something that you brought special just for the show,
Yeah,
unreleased, something you're working on, right?
Yeah, something we're working on. Got another guy here with the coffee company, Nick Hayden. I always like to call him like a mad scientist, man. Like he's just was in coffee before the liquor industry and everything too as well. So he's been working on the right recipe for a cold brew. So
Cool.
he used a Mai Tai. This is our Mai Tai that we offer. It is actually barrel-aged Costa Rican being done in orange Curacao barrels, blended with the Honduran done in, I believe this one was Jamaican rum barrels.
Oh,
That we use
badass.
as Mai Tai. Yeah, so just a little cocktail spin.
Let's
that
pour
we
it up,
do.
Brian.
Let's
Grab
check
one,
it
baby.
out.
Let's do it. So how long did it take to come up with this?
So we've been working on this cold brew for a while, but this one in particular, I say Nick's been at it probably for almost a month, just researching cold brew, trying different stuff out. And the great thing is, I work at a distillery, so we have like the perfect people to test this out on. But this has just been a fantastic one.
And just to let everyone know, we're debuting our new Firkin podcast
That's right.
mugs. So
By-
if you come
by
on the
sheer
episode, you go on-
coincidence.
Look,
Oh,
yeah,
this is
it's
when these came into
absolute
play.
coincidence.
Look
So
at the coffee
cheers,
guy.
gentlemen. John, thank
Cheers.
you for coming on.
Thanks
So we
for
get
having
into
me.
it. Let's try this out. Oh shit, that's good. That's really cool.
It's a solid cold brew.
Man, this
So-
is fantastic. I'm a giant coffee fan. I love coffee, and this hits all the right notes. It's just so smooth, balanced. It's good.
John, let's talk about how did you get into coffee? Like, how did Stave and Bean come? How are we here right now?
So always drank coffee, big coffee fan. Never really got too big into it. And then COVID happened, right? So we shut down for tours. The production was still going, but it also left a lot of free time. And a lot of friends, I knew some friends, bartenders, think people like within the service industry, all of them lost jobs, right? I mean, the whole city
Yeah,
shut down. While I was never put in that position, it just got me thinking like, wow, would I ever want to be in that position? I mean, luckily enough, I was able to keep my job. Business was good, because when you're happy, you drink. You're sad, you drink.
Yeah.
Right?
It's the one thing I always said that doesn't really get touched much by the depression. Usually, you're just not buying as much good stuff anymore.
Yeah. But the stores were definitely demanding it. And then there's also a combination of being in the position I'm in at the distillery, being the single barrel curator, and just as you know, being able to meet people, go on different picks. I mean, you taste hundreds of barrels, hundreds of stuff a year.
Yeah.
And a lot of times when you dump them, the barrels may go back to a cooperage or a brewery or something like that to help recapture some of the flavor or
Right.
just the bourbon essence. And I was just trying to think, well, I have access to tons of barrels, different barrels, cooperages. Like, how can I reuse some of these barrels? Did a little bit of research just on barrel aged coffee in general, because there was like two big, or one, I want to say just really one big coffee company called Oak and Bond.
Okay.
Right? I want to say they were kind of like one of the first ones to kind of start really having like a premium barrel aged coffee. And then just kind of dug in from there, started researching. The first time I barrel aged coffee, I bought a Tupperware, big, huge Tupperware container, put green beans in there and put some barrel char in there, like wet barrel char.
Oh, yeah?
And just shook it up. And like, I was like, am I even doing this right? But, and it was, but then I took it to a little roaster. I wanted to go as far away from Louisville as possible. I was like, I don't want anybody else to know what I'm doing. So I went drove 3 hours to a roaster up in by Cincinnati, to have him roast it for me. And he's like, this is fantastic. He's like, this is really different. And then from there, I was like, all right, I think I really do have something.
Wow.
So met a good buddy of mine, Corey Welsh. He runs the New Orleans Bourbon Festival, nonprofit there. If you haven't been to that bourbon festival either, it's one of the best bourbon festivals I've ever been to.
I haven't been.
Let's go, baby.
We were at the Sazerac house, man. They were just popping BTAC bottles like nothing, nothing, just pouring them out, many portions you want. It was super cool. But yeah, and then started just messing around, see what type of barrels to get. I met Corey. He came in one day to the distillery because people were still coming down to Louisville trying the bourbon hunt. And he's like, what have you been up to? And I showed him. I was like, you gotta come back here. Check out this barrel. Look what I'm doing. Try these beans. And literally, I remember him looking at me and being like, I'm in. He's like, what does it take? And I'm not going to disclose the amount, but he came back 2 days later with cash. Here, let's get doing this.
That's what we're expecting any moment now. Somebody to beat down our door.
Corey, you can come and give us cash.
Yeah,
handful of cash.
And it's crazy because I'd already had branding for the company, the coffee company had stuff, and I was thinking kind of small. I was like, just sell some coffee here and there.
Yeah.
And he's like, no, man, we need to go big with this. So we rebranded. Paid someone professionally to do it. And I went from having 2 products to 10 launch day, right?
Wow.
So yeah.
Who came up with the name Stave and Bean?
So we wrote down I think we had 6-7 different names we were working on and writing them down. And honestly, what it came down to was what already hasn't been taken.
Okay.
Kind of, and then,
Right.
And then we wanted to figure out a way to incorporate. We just didn't want to call it barrel aged coffee, right? Because originally it was called John's Barrel Aged Coffee. Is what it was going to be. I'll tell you,
It would have been better if it had been Old John's Barrel Aged Coffee.
Dude, it was a sick label. It was a sick label, though. I mean, I had
That's what I was going to ask you. Yeah.
Was your hair blowing in the wind?
I mean, I had coffee
you're standing
mugs
up
already made up.
Yeah.
But we were thinking if we want to get into places like Kroger's,
right.
is this going to be good branding? Because you're branding a person, not really a company.
That's right.
Per se.
Yep.
So it's a hard pill to swallow for me, with my face on some coffee mugs already and everything, and some bags. I was like, all right, yeah, let's do this. Yeah.
But you could have eventually sold it for a lot of money, and then maybe you would have been like the Colonel Sanders.
That's
right?
true.
That's my mind. That's what I was thinking.
Man,
I was like,
come
oh man, I
on.
want people when they think of barrel aged coffee, I want them to think of John.
Yeah, and then John just goes around, and then you're just the face.
Yeah.
You don't even have to do the work anymore. You just walk around and be
Yeah,
like,
man.
look, John's here.
But I wasn't ready for that stardom or fame. I just
understand. Takes time. Takes time. It takes. You don't want to rush into it, man. That's how it goes.
I don't have self control. I'm bad at that. So
It's bad to be in the alcohol business too. It's a really bad thing.
Oh shit.
But yeah, we just kind of connected from there. And like I said, the good thing about this industry is meeting all the people I do, hosting the barrel selections and things like that, and being able to taste and grade barrels there at the distillery. It was pretty easy to just reach out people, and like I said, so supporting. What do you like, Chris? All right, yeah, you want your coffee in Kroger's? Let's here's our distributor.
Yeah.
And we started doing events and everything else, and just in the best way possible, got a lot bigger than what I ever thought.
Was the first barrel that you ever aged any coffee in? Was it Peerless? Was it a Peerless barrel?
Obviously, yeah, Peerless barrel.
Just sneak it out the back one night.
No, the cool thing about
Poured
it was
out all the whiskey into his mouth.
I saw a chance with working at the distillery, and not that Peerless needed any help. We were we were years into it. We'd already had product out. But I approached Corky, the owner, and I was kind of nervous. I was like, hey, I want to start this coffee company. I was like, I promise it won't interfere with here. If anything, it's gonna help.
But-
It will help. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'll have,
Yeah.
I want to promote Peerless because obviously I work here. I love this place, and I'll never. The only thing he said to me, he's like, "What do you need from me? Like, how can I help?"
Awesome.
And I was like, "Oh man, like sweet. Like, can I just get like 1 or 2 barrels? Like, let me throw some coffee beans."
Just
And
one empty barrel.
yeah, and what was even so cool was like even people that worked there were like all excited. They were like helping me, like, "Oh, we want to watch this. Like, how are you gonna do it?"
Wow,
And
that's amazing.
they were helping me come up with ideas and stuff.
And were you immediately like, I don't know?
Yeah, yeah. I'm like,
Can you not watch this
Yeah.
time?
Yeah.
Maybe watch next time. There you go.
and then shout out to the guys over at Quills, Brian, Cameron, Nathan, all of them. Brian, he's a huge bourbon nerd himself.
Yeah, he is.
So he was super excited when I brought to him, and I believe they were already doing some stuff for Willet. Willet does some little bit of barrel aging at their gift shop there, and he brought me in, let me do cupping sessions, which will blow your mind if you're a huge whiskey fan and you really like to taste stuff and try to pick up certain notes. You can do that exact same thing with coffee, right?
Absolutely.
They're called cupping sessions, right? Where you and it's all about the grind size, how much coffee versus water ratio, just everything you can take in and put in with the whiskey, basically, in a way.
Wow. All right.
And tasting, like, we're tasting through all these 10, 12 coffees, and they're being like brutally honest, like, this is from a coffee side, I would tweak this or like this. And I'll never forget what Brian said to me. He goes, it's about finding that medium, right? Like, obviously you have your whiskey and you have your coffee lovers. Like, how can you bring them together?
Sure.
So we work with them, finding the right roast profiles and things like that. So they were a huge help, and they roast all our coffee for us.
It's great coffee.
Yeah,
It's great. You've had the Stave and Bean coffee before, haven't
Yes.
you?
Yeah, it's real good. Yeah, that's what I was going to ask though. So you went from the guys up in northern Kentucky, but you did shift after that.
Yeah, shift after that. Yeah, like once I was like, all right.
After he figured out the secret.
Yeah, he's
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
okay.
well, what I wanted, I figured out. I got me a lawyer. I got me a CPA. Like all the guys attached, and obviously gave him like a little bit of the company too, right? I was like, hey, like small percentage, take care of these things, keep me out of trouble, make sure everything's trademarked and whatnot. And they've been great, and now we're here 2 years, almost 2 years into it. Be 2 years in September. And like I said, we're in like 8 different Krogers. We're at LTS's House Coffee.
That's
We do all
awesome.
the coffee for Wilderness Trail, French Lick, soon to be Buzzard Roost. We got their stuff aging right now, waiting for them to put it
Ooh.
out in their gift shop. And not that saying that obviously I'm gonna say we're the best barrel aged coffee, but also it's too, I think, when we looked up, the big thing that struck me, where's the number 1 barrel aged coffee? It was like out of Maine is where the company was.
That's
Like,
weird.
it's like, well, that can't be. That it
That's
can't.
not right.
That's got to change. So we started Stave and Bean, and man, it has been a lot of fun, crazy. We're with Monte Cristo, right? Like that's when I was like, all right, this is really happening. This past year in February, guys at Monte
Vegased it
Cristo,
up, didn't you?
oh my gosh,
Oh yeah,
man.
you did.
The guys, Josh and Oliver and Mike and all them from Monte Cristo, they ordered like over 300 pounds. We barrel aged it in their barrel pick that they did with the distillery at Peerless. And then they flew me out to Vegas. We launched it at their big TPE conference out there. And let me tell you, if you the liquor industry, like, we know how to have fun, but let me tell you, it's nothing compared to some of those cigar.
Really?
Oh my gosh! I mean,
Hey, we'll have you on the Bergen podcast.
They've rented out a whole pool area of the casino and threw like this huge after party after it was insane.
That's
it was
awesome.
insane.
Dude, it in Vegas just a blast.
It is.
Yeah, and it's
Good
my
time.
first time there too. Like, I keep in mind, like,
Oh.
I am
Yeah.
36 years. My first time to Vegas,
Oh, dude.
and we were there for 5 days.
How many
Yeah.
days do you remember?
Oh man,
First one.
the day I got there and the day I left,
There
pretty
you
much.
go.
Yeah,
That's all I got.
Those are the 2 days I
I'm
really
gonna
remember.
run that last one too. It was rough.
Yeah, because they were midnight flights, right? So you're like, well, I'm
Yeah.
partying all
That's-
night. So I
that's
get on that
exactly
plane
right.
at midnight,
That's
and then
exactly right.
on the way to the airport, you're like, this was bad decision.
Terrible idea.
Terrible.
But it
idea.
sounds great
Oh yeah,
when
yeah.
you're planning it.
Until you get on that plane for 4 hours.
I was at the craps table, and my wife's like, "We got to catch the plane," and I'm like, "I know, but come on, just one more roll."
Yeah. Well, I know that feeling.
This is
all
the
too
this
well.
is gonna be
This
the
is the
one.
one.
This is the one I'm buying Vegas with.
7 out. Shit.
We can go now. I don't have any more money.
All right, we're good. That was quick.
When that oxygen they pump through those casinos, like,
That's right.
it'd be like 4 a.m, and I'm still, on Louisville time. Like, it's 8, and I'm wide awake right now. Like,
Yeah, man. So when I went, I guess it was January. And that's what it was like. I'm an early sleeper, early riser. So by the time I was like up and moving, man, it's 2:00 in the morning out there, and like I'm fresh and wide awake, and I'm ready to do this. Still lost everything though.
I mean, it really is like if you ever seen Vegas Vacation, get up, go downstairs, get some breakfast in the morning, go throw a dice on the table, or blackjack.
Oh, brother, yeah, it was like a cup
upstairs.
of coffee and then instantaneously drinking the rest of the day and gambling.
I'm not gonna lie. Half the time in the morning when I did go, I would just go down there and play a little bit of roulette till that first cocktail waitress came around, get that first drink.
Correct.
That's right. Out. Yeah.
So I'll give you let's go to our first pour, and then I'll give you like my little Vegas secret that saved me money.
Okay.
Even that I didn't have to just waste and gamble. So
do you guys have an online presence with your product too?
Good call.
Yes.
Good
No.
call.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. Good call. Yeah. It's staveandbean.com. So we have coffee. We have Randy out at Barn 8. Man, we even have like this coffee brittle we sell that is absolutely fantastic. And then we just got some new merchandise in. We got tumblers, we got hats, stickers, all the good stuff. And we have about 8 different things on the website right now. I say we roast everything as fresh as possible.
Yeah.
And we do them in about 30-pound batches. That way, we can always do more. It's always fresh. We do everything in whole beans too. So, but no, don't freak out. Just go to Kroger's, get yourself a little $10 grinder. It's fine. You don't need a coarse grinder off the bat, and get you a little. If you're a K-Pod, they have a little K-Pod refillable cups. Yeah, and free shipping no matter where you are too. So
look at this guy.
Yeah.
So what's the website?
For the people.
You are a man of the people.
I'm a man of the people.
Damn.
What's the website, John?
It's www.staveandbean.com.
Right on.
So definitely go by there and get a couple bags.
Yeah, we'll link you out on the website.
Or your local Kroger's.
There you go.
Absolutely. This coffee is so good.
Yeah, absolutely.
Definitely worth it. I actually learned a lot from John and Corey teaching me how to like brew coffee and the gases that it makes.
Oh, we were right there in your office, man. We had the whole setup.
Like teaching me how to like do pour over coffee, and I've always just been the type of like put it in the coffee maker and press start, and it's a game changer.
Sounds to me like
it's a game changer.
Sounds to me like we need to plan out an interactive episode where he teaches us that on camera.
That might be a good idea.
Look at this.
Maybe next time John comes back, we'll do like a little tutorial.
Only if we can shoot a video like in Office Space, like where they had the copier out there. If I want it to be like your coffee pot where you're like,
100%.
I'll just have to secure the rights to some really good music for that.
I'll even hook you up with the French press and Chemex if you want.
There you go.
I love it.
We got plenty of extra.
I love that. Because if we go through and like play that song, "Damn, It Feels Good to Be a Gangster," as it goes through and we break this like shitty ass coffee maker,
that's
right. Awesome. I love it. All right, guys, we're gonna be right back because we got to pour some Peerless whiskey.
That's right.
To drink.
Well, yeah. See you on the other side.
See ya.
Hey, listener, thanks for tuning in. I just want to jump in here real quick and remind you to go check out our website at firkinpodcast.com and make sure that you subscribe on your podcast platform, whether it be Apple, Google, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts. Make sure you hit the subscribe button and rate and review us. It just helps us kind of get the algorithm going and get out there to more listeners. And please share us with a friend. If you're enjoying what you're hearing, I'm sure you have a friend that's going to enjoy it just the same, and we'd like you to share that along. So thanks for listening, and we'll get back to the episode.
So we are back here with John, single barrel coordinator of Peerless, as well as founder and owner of Stave and Bean Coffee. So we had coffee to start with.
That's right.
Now we're moving into the whiskey.
Delicious coffee.
It's like the grown-up version of like Red Bull and Jaeger, right? Like Jaeger bombs, like coffee and whiskey.
You're right about
coffee and whiskey.
Yeah.
That's right.
It's classy.
Yeah, You know what? That's what you need to do. Maybe that's your next little RTD.
That's why they took the old man John off the front.
Coffee and whiskey.
We need to be classy here, old man John.
Yeah, old John needs to come off. All right, John.
Yeah, what do we got?
So I'm just going to name it because I'm going to let John kind of walk us through some of these picks as we go through it. But this is Kentucky Peerless, and this is going to be a single barrel bourbon. So this one was called, what did we say this one was called?
Mixed Berry Tart.
Mixed Berry Tart.
It's 106.9 proof. This is
fruity.
one of the single barrels that we released through our gift shop. Just so it's a distillery release only that we have here. Some of our gift shop picks are absolutely amazing. There's a couple of us that make up the panel. There's 3 of us, myself, Caleb, and Nick. at the distillery. And what we'll do is every barrel that becomes of age, we taste it, right?
Hell
like
yeah.
that's still hard for me to wrap my mind around sometimes. Like, when you complain about your job, like, man, but
I
we get
taste
to taste
whiskey.
Yeah, I get to taste whiskey.
Right.
And we'll choose obviously the barrels that are like super unique that we really love. What we'll do from there is we'll designate them to go into the single barrel program, so they can be released up front. They may go into a selection when an account comes in, and this is just one of the gift shop picks that we actually have.
Mixed berry tart. So who comes up with that?
We used when we tasted them, I would say we did have credit for in the beginning some of the names, but now, as you can imagine, we're tasting through a little bit more barrels. Some of our names, after you've been tasting about 20 barrels, they get vetoed pretty quick. So Christina, Peyton, the ladies up in marketing, they do a great job they'll sit in and taste with us now too, and kind of like, hey, get back on track.
Right.
That name was bad, John.
Yeah. That's gonna work. And they have great palates too. Christina, we were able.
She does.
She worked for us, went to Buffalo Trace over there at their barrel program, and then came back. So super excited to have her on.
Yeah, if you get to do a barrel selection with her, she's doing it with John is awesome, but she's great. I've done I think 2 with her.
2 with her, yeah. I think,
2 with her. She's wonderful.
Oh, you're one of those groups now. When she knows you're coming in, she's like, I'm sitting in on this barrel.
Hell yeah, that's what I like to hear. Well, hopefully she's enjoying that.
Yeah.
So, John, Peerless DSP number.
Yeah, so we're DSP 50. So Corky's great grandfather, Henry Craver, started it back in 1889. Bought it from Mr. Worsham, friend of his, the Worsham family, and changed the name to Peerless. And he got the DSP number 50, which is actually crazy if you really think about it. That while we are a newer distillery, we're basically, I just say we're an old but new distillery.
Right.
He was lucky enough to get his great grandfather's original DSP number back, which they've only done that like 3 times, I believe, and they don't do it anymore.
That's crazy. And to let you guys know, the DSP number is it's kind of, what would you call that?
Your federal ID number.
Federal ID
yeah,
number.
when you open up a distillery, they will issue a number.
And we're into what the 20
that's what I was gonna say.
So
30,000s.
If you think about like Michter's, Angel Envy's, they're
Yeah.
19, 20,000. I think our number would have been about 20,333. And I think there's like 5 active underneath 50 that still operate.
Yeah.
And then you
you
think
do
what
still have DSP1
Yeah,
still out
yeah.
there with Heaven
Heaven
Hill.
Hill.
Yeah.
But you think about names like Jim Beam, they're 230 somewhere around there.
Yeah.
You got Maker's Mark like 444, Buffalo Trace like 113, 116 somewhere around there. And yeah, so it's pretty cool to.
It
let
is. It's a
people know.
really cool little fact about Kentucky of just like you're yes, you are a new distillery, but you're operating this whole historical thing of bringing it back.
No, he had to do a whole thing. Like Corky had to prove like he was part of the bloodline. Like
Wow.
like it wasn't
I'm
just
sure, yeah.
Crazy.
like, hey, that's my grandpa. I should get that number. No, it took him. I always joke. I always say it took him 2 years, a lot of lawyers, and a lot of money to get that number back. But he was able to get that DSP number back, and he's the 5th generation. Him and Carson. And like I said, we're family owned. Carson's our president. Corky's our owner, obviously. And it's just, there's about 26 of us there. And we do everything right there on site, right in downtown Louisville. So right in the heart, we're at 120 North 10th Street. So just a block up from Louisville Slugger.
Hell yeah.
We cook there, distill there, bottle there. We have a rick house on site that holds close to like 1,400 barrels now. So it's crazy. So we do have a lot of quality control. I will say it's one thing I think that makes our distillery so great is the fact that we do everything under one roof. And we're in about 47 states. So we only make about 10 to 12 barrels a day, roughly about 2,500 a year, which some of your bigger distilleries do more in a day than we do in a year.
Wow. Okay.
That's insane. And you when you all came out, you came out a little differently than most newer bourbon companies too. You put out a rye first.
Yeah. Rye ages a little bit faster in barrel. So we came out in July of 2017 with a 2-year rye. Then our bourbon came out in May of 2019 as a 4-year. So we just hit 8 years this year back in March, which is crazy, right? When I first started there, we didn't even have product out.
Right.
And then here we are now sitting on 8-year-old product. But
That is awesome.
don't get too excited out there. I think for,
It ain't there yet.
Yeah.
Calm down.
one thing you
Still
got to understand, we want to basically at one point, have a standard, maybe 8, 9, 10, whatever it may be that they settle on. So a lot of the older stuff, we're trying to hold back, which sucks for me, man, because going in and seeing like some of these 8-year-old barrels untapped Caleb's like, don't touch those. I'm like, just one drill. Just let me drill one. Just let me do
Caleb, go on vacation.
yeah. And even Nick, our other distiller, like they are stricklers on that, but they know I'm like, please, just one drill.
I mean, what's the worst that's gonna happen?
Yeah.
You lose your job.
Come on.
They're nice. They're Caleb's like, all right,
Stave
one
and
barrel.
Bean.
Yeah. He's like, but we're
Oh,
not gonna
Caleb's
touch
awesome.
those.
He is a hell of a nice guy.
Yeah, that's our master distiller down there.
Yeah.
Programmed, coded, designed our computer system, helped laid piping and everything down there. And he was like 20 years old.
Wow.
I always tell people like to really get a judgment about Caleb, like he's as smart as can be. And the best way I always phrase it is like senior year of high school, right? I was going to like Destin, Panama, right? Like that was the place to go.
Yeah.
He was at home on the family farm building flamethrowers, right? Like, that's just the type of person.
Like
He was
you
a
do.
mechanics person. Yeah. On his family, he's from Salt Lick, a little dairy farm right outside of Lexington, basically. And yeah, just a mechanics guy.
Word.
Yeah.
Man, that's awesome.
Right.
Yeah.
We
Build
need
a
to bring him
flamethrower
on
is
the
not
show
bad,
to
yeah.
show us how to build.
Yeah, I wonder if he could build a
flamethrower.
jetpack. I've always wanted to have one of those.
He brought in a potato gun one day. And
I knew you were going to bring
ev-
potato gun up.
Everyone was trying to contract guns from him. I'm like, hey man, I got this idea for this potato gun. Can you build this? I mean, even I was like, I need you to build something for me.
I need you to build me a
Yeah.
potato gun. This is what it's going to look like. It's
Oh
going to be an
my
automatic
God.
potato gun.
And he would sit up there on the chalkboard and draw out blueprints. You know, like, oh, this is the pipe we're gonna need,
Oh.
the size.
He's
and
got
that, yeah.
formulas
Oh, my
going
God.
on.
it's
Einsteining out.
And, and I'm not ashamed to say that he is absolutely smarter than me. And I always tell him in our meetings, I'm like, can you dumb this down for me? Like, talk to me like I'm not a scientist for a minute. And
Well,
he-
see, that's the problem with scientists. They have a hard time communicating
And-
with us
Yep.
us normal people.
what do they call it? I forget the exact word, but he always has like the great comparisons. He's like, distilling's like, you know, when you're out there milking that cow, right? And you got him, and it's like, but he's so great at like comparing stuff that really
Like stuck in
help
there
you
like hair in a biscuit.
yeah. Like, like he's so great at explaining things that help you understand.
He should be a songwriter.
He
Look,
should be a
had-
songwriter.
Yeah, he should have been a songwriter. Well, I guess he's doing all right. He's building flamethrowers
He's
and potato
okay.
guns.
He's
No,
okay.
You know, something about Peerless, I love the bottle design.
Yeah,
You know, I mean,
yeah.
it stands out amongst everything else. And even before I knew much about Peerless, just that bottle design in a liquor store really called to me. Explain that a little bit.
Corky's son Carson, man. So he he was co-oping out of high school. Like he never went to college. But he was a builder, man, like great at designing and building things, like just fantastic. So he used to build homes and sell trim and all that stuff before Peerless. So he designed our bottle. Once again, took him about 2 years to design that. But he wanted something different, right? Something that stuck out on the shelf. If you look back here, a lot of your bottles, tall,
blend.
slender. Yeah, they blend in. So if you ever come to our distillery, that's kind of based off our doubler. And it's a heavy bottle. Like it's
Okay.
a real heavy
It's a
bottle.
heavy bottle.
We have Henry Craver's original signature across there with the solid piece of glass at the bottom. We used to use a real cork and a way heavier top, but we switched to synthetic and wood. Basically because, the shelf life of whiskey, cork tanks, real thing. We did have some corks that we were a little bit scared of, so we got rid of those. And it's so much more expensive. So we don't think it diminished the bottle because the bottle is absolutely beautiful.
Well,
so
I think the bottle's awesome.
we switched over synthetic, went to wood top, and I think it really helped. But yeah, it's a beautiful bottle design.
Love it.
And we trademarked it. So the great thing is you'll never see that end up in like a stock portfolio.
Hell yeah,
Oh,
man.
Yeah.
neat,
So
man.
that's why you haven't seen
Yeah,
any other bottle shape.
Nobody else, but I guarantee there's a lot of bottles up here that are in
Yeah.
the same exact bottle.
And when we first came out, we won the packaging award too, which is kind of cool. It's split up in three different subjects: best label, best top, and best bottle. And we won all three first time.
Nice.
Anybody's ever
That's
done that.
awesome.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
cool.
So he's great, man. He if you ever come down the distillery, we bought a 150-year-old tobacco warehouse in downtown Louisville, is what the building used to be.
It's really neat, Brian.
Really?
Yeah. And Carson brought his own Bobcat and bulldozer in there.
Was that the old like Philip Morris area?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah,
Yeah,
right
okay.
down there, and completely gutted it and designed and helped do the architecture and frame every window and everything down there.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's badass.
He
dude.
designed-
awesome.
We have 3 new rooms down there, or 2 new tasting rooms down there. Carson helped build and design and put together.
Yeah.
So yeah, he's awesome.
Wow. Yeah, I
Man,
like that one a lot.
when did that one release? Do you remember? That's been a couple years. Maybe a
That
year.
one's only a couple months.
Oh, it's only a couple months.
Yeah,
Shit,
couple
I
months.
drink so much whiskey, I don't even remember when we
But
get it.
It's great. So give you an idea. Like we do releases at the distillery. We had one a couple weeks back. It was a double oak bourbon single barrel. We released there 3 days is all it lasted. So I mean, we can. But you see it even when you go somewhere. People come in and say, "What can I only get here?"
Mm-hmm.
Like, and that's so we keep these single barrels, man. People fly through them.
So you said 47 states altogether?
Yeah, about 47 states. We're in Canada.
Which ones aren't you in?
I think it's like Alaska, maybe. We're not in Alaska.
Hard to get the whiskey over.
Yeah,
there.
yeah.
Sorry to our Alaskan listener.
I think
Yeah,
maybe
we do have somebody who listens to us in Alaska.
Really?
What a bummer, dude.
Yeah, sorry you can't taste this.
But you got to think it's probably not just one person, right? It's probably like in some, I don't want to say igloo, but you know what I mean? It's probably like somewhere out in the coast.
Probably
and
in
there's
an
probably
igloo
like
and they're
there's probably
sharing
like
it amongst
10,
themselves.
Yeah, maybe
12
they're all
people
like
sitting around.
gathering around.
Yeah.
Is that what it's
about-
like in Alaska?
Yeah.
Thinking about how much of this Peerless they'd like to try and they don't get a
Fucking
chance to.
Living in an igloo, he says.
I think maybe Utah, because Utah's a weird state, right?
Yeah,
Like,
that is a weird
yeah.
state.
I can't
Yeah.
remember which.
Utah's a very weird state.
That's where all the Mormons are.
Yeah,
It is.
yeah.
That is a very strange state.
How many people can we attack right
Yeah.
now?
I tell you, man, if you could
I
start your own
haven't-
distribution company, not distribute, but like trucking company, man.
Yeah.
Just pick
Mm.
up. I've always thought, just give me a little box truck, call the distilleries, like, you got single barrels that need to be delivered, right?
Got you.
Take like, even if it's just 3 or 4 single barrels, go down there, vacation for like a couple days and drive back.
That's like legal bootlegging.
I mean, obviously, I'll have the right paperwork.
Sure.
everything. Yeah, insurance.
Sure you will.
yeah.
Absolutely you will. Nothing but legal on John's side. Don't look into the businesses.
Trust me, I'll get your
Yeah.
product there and it'll all be intact.
All right, I need a new glass.
All right,
Or,
what
I
are we
mean,
doing
a
now?
new pour, really, but that's the main goal. All right, let's grab this next one here. Oh, John, you know what this one is?
Is that the festival pick?
Hell yeah, it is, man.
Is that from last year?
Yeah, this is last year's festival pick.
Heck yeah.
This was cool. Barrel date was August 8th, 2017.
That was a 6-year-old, I believe, when we picked it.
Yeah, this one, this is a good. So John and I picked this. We did
Bourbon and Beyond.
Did some work for Bourbon and Beyond.
Right on.
Since we're on the Bourbon Beyond pick, man, the pick this year for the festival, that was so cool how y'all did it this year, man. The
Yeah.
Krogers with tasting panels.
Yeah, so for everybody who doesn't know, we went through this year. So last year, we went to all the distilleries to pick out every single barrel. Loved it. It was so much fun, but that's a lot of work. I know it sounds like I'm complaining, but man, like trying to do that in between your regular day job as well as trying to set up for Bourbon and Beyond, it's a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
So this year we came up with this really neat idea and saying, look, we're going to sell all of these barrels like we normally do, but we're going to have the distilleries come to us and we're going to put a show on. So we had all these guys. John brought barrels out and everybody got there like 15, 20, 30 minutes or so, come up there, show us what they were doing, walk us through the tasting. We all talked about it, vote on it. I got to make fun of a Fred. It was great. It's
Had
one
the
of my
coffee
favorite
truck
things.
out front,
Perfect
too.
day.
We
man.
did have
Yeah,
the coffee truck out.
Bro-
John brought the coffee truck and stuck it right out in front of the
So,
store.
all right, real quick on the I was so nervous. So we had just gotten this trailer, right? Just got it branded. And not that I'm not used to driving a trailer, but like it's been like a couple of years. I'm like
Yeah.
learning. And Chris is all like, "Oh yeah, just pop it up here on the curb right in front
Pop
of the
it
store."
up on the curb.
Right, like
Of
in the
course you
shopping
did,
center. I'm
yeah.
like, everyone's out looking at me. I'm like,
And there's-
oh,
by the way, when he
my
got there,
God.
we're full. Like
Yeah,
there's
full.
a lot of fucking people
People around
around
everywhere.
Oh Lord!
I literally
coming
called.
through.
I literally called Corey before when I went to go back to get my truck, and I said, Corey, insurance is up to date. Like we're good on insurance. Literally what I called and asked, and I was like,
Because if not, we got to do this in the parking lot out
Man,
here.
I got to give you props. That's a good
Yeah.
call to make.
oh yeah, that's the first thing I did.
Yeah.
And Corey's like, yeah, we're good. He's like, what's going on? Everything okay? I was
He's
like,
why did you get the
Yeah.
trailer fucking stuck someplace?
and I, keep in mind though too, yeah, like you're trying to pop it up in front of this Kroger liquor store, and there is like a little bit of a
And it's a
walkway,
curve,
right?
Yeah.
And then you got a curb. But you know what? Nailed it first try. Pulled it right up
You
in
did
there.
nail it first try. I came out there and we were just like backing him up, and he killed it.
Yeah.
He killed it. We got it up there.
But yeah, the pick this year we did for Bourbon. I don't want to, I don't know if you're keeping it secret yet, but we did bring some pretty cool stuff to the table, and I'm excited for the release this year.
It's gonna be so much fun.
Yeah.
So much fun. So let's go ahead and we're gonna make you a part of this whole Empire thing. 'Cause
Okay,
you've done Bourbon and Beyond with me. John's gonna be there here with me this year too.
I love.
right.
I think I call Chris once a month and ask him about Bourbon.
Hey, I need to do Bourbon and Beyond. Don't forget.
We'll all be there. There'll be a lot of friendly faces.
So if you want to come and experience Bourbon and Beyond, the 4-day festival with headliners like Bruno Mars, The Killers, Brandy Carlisle, Duran Duran. Let me also say what we have not talked about: Wayne fucking Newton
and the Avett brothers are there.
and the
this
Avett
year.
brothers are there. Like,
There
if
you
you want to
go.
come hang with Brian, myself, have a drink with John, we are going to give away. We're going to give away 2 4-day GA passes. So
2 4-day
two
passes.
4-day passes. That is a $500 value. So I think what we're going to do, Brian, is like, subscribe. I'll let you go through some rules here.
So come join us on our website at firkinpodcast.com. We're going to have a giveaway section going there. You just follow a few basic steps, and you'll earn points toward a randomized drawing. So that includes subscribing to the podcast, sharing it with a friend, going over to Instagram and following us, subscribing to the YouTube page, all the normal stuff. Plus, there are a few secret codes out there that might get you some extra points.
Oh, look at that. Look at that.
Today's secret code is actually aged to perfection.
Aged to perfection.
Yep. So enter that where you see it. And,
John's already like typing into this.
get yourself an extra entry.
Shit, I gotta get these tickets. John, you're good, man. Don't worry about it. You don't have to enter.
I can never miss Bourbon and Beyond again. Chris.
I'm getting those tickets.
I'm not bougie, but Chris
He's still entering the contest. I told him he's in. He's like, I just don't know.
when Chris entertains you, man, it's hard to go back.
Yeah.
I understand.
It is going to be an awesome show, though. And I would just say to follow John around if you want to find the good bands out there.
Absolutely. And I bet if our winner, John will be there and we'll all have a drink together.
Yeah, we'll have a
You
drink
had
together.
It's Always Sunny podcast there last year.
How
dude.
cool was that, right?
That's right.
Those guys are so awesome.
And now
We
the
have to meet
Firkin
them.
podcast is taking over. All right.
Firkin podcast.
If I was ever willing to go to jail, it'd be to rush that stage just to talk to those guys.
Dude,
I still remember to this day where I was and who I was with the first time I ever watched. You got to think it's 16 years ago in the making. I was in the
God.
I was in the basement of my grandma's house with my older brother, and I was like, "Man, you got the show's getting ready to come on." We were over there for like dinner. I was like, "We got to watch it." Hooked. The first episode, I was like, "This is amazing."
Yeah, it's great. If you have never seen that show, it is
That's right.
so good.
We're doing it a little backwards, right? Because you got all these guys that they have these shows and they're awesome and they do a podcast. We're starting the podcast, but we're hoping somebody gives us a TV show.
Yeah, we clearly need a TV show. That's
Have you guys
the only
seen?
thing that makes any sense.
Have you guys listened to or seen Smartless?
Oh yeah.
Dude, that is one of my favorite shits.
I don't think I've ever seen it.
It's such a funny podcast. It's got Jason Bateman, Will Arnett, Sean Hayes. These guys,
Those
it's
guys
just
should come on our podcast.
they do an interesting thing where one of the hosts knows who the guest is going to be, and then
yes,
brings
everyone
them
does
in,
it.
and the other two don't, and so then they have to do these interviews.
What a
It would be like
great
me
concept.
scheduling someone and not telling you.
What a great concept
And then they
for
come
a
in and-
show.
But they did
Super
an on the
cool.
road thing on HBO, and that shit was so cool, man. Just to
Oh,
watch
so there's
them,
something on HBO?
to watch them do the live version
neat.
of that. Yeah.
Oh, I have to watch that. That sounds awesome.
We're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back. At the Firkin Podcast, we like to explore the stories behind the drinks. We've done that throughout the first few episodes with a number of amazing guests, and we want to keep bringing great content to you. I want to encourage everyone to become a Firker at patreon.com/FirkinPodcast. Help support the show and make what we're doing possible. That's patreon.com/FirkinPodcast. Benefits include early access to shows, pre-sale tickets, cutting room floor content. Who could ask for more? Come make the show possible. That's patreon.com/FirkinPodcast. All right, yeah, we're back. Got a new pour going on here. What we got?
Oh my
this
gosh!
Is
So
a
this
nice
is
little
this is
double
going to
oak
be our
rye, right?
this is going to be our last Peerless pour on camera. I can't say what's going to happen.
Yeah,
This
you
is
never
our
know.
last Peerless pour on camera. John brought this one, so the other ones were out of my collection, and John brought this one. So tell us a little bit about what you brought us, brother.
So, I am a huge rye whiskey fan. Like if I'm
Me
out
and you both,
somewhere,
buddy.
I'm ordering a rye off the menu before I order a bourbon. This is our Double Oak Rye. Now, this is a single barrel. We do a small batch of Double Oak Rye, but this one is one particular barrel that we chose to sell it to the gift shop. There's no rhyme or reason behind our double oaking, which I love. There is no flavor profile that we say this has to be a double oak rye flavor profile.
Awesome.
You can try 3 different double oak ryes. They're all going to be extremely different from each other. It could be 1 year in that barrel, 6 months, 2 years. Who knows? I like to call them, if you're a Bob Ross fan, I like to call them happy accidents. That's
I am a Bob Ross fan.
These are literally how they started.
Oh, you should name a bottle Happy Accident.
It was never supposed to be in the portfolio. It was never anything we ever thought was going to be become of anything. But when we first started tasting barrels, we go in as blindly as possible, and we're tasting like, God, some of these are so different. And we start going back like, these are double oak. And once again, some of them were 1 year, 2 years, 6 months, and they all just were extremely different. And they became a huge part of what people seek after for Peerless.
How many of you how many single barrel double oaks?
So in our allocation for single barrels out in the market, we only do 20 picks. So you got to think 10, but that's split between bourbon and rye. So it may be 10 double oak picks we do a year, 10 double oak rye picks we do a year. Sometimes fewer than that because we do everything off our palate. We try not to guarantee exactly everything, but we're like, hey, if we think it's ready, it's good enough, we'll put it out there.
Yeah, hell yeah. No, it's just with any rye, it's you get that right up front. It's fantastic.
Spice notes right on the top of the tongue. Lot of
that
spice
finish,
on the top of the tongue.
Man, there's something in there. It is
lasts for a while too.
It's earthy and it's beautiful.
And for all you bourbon people out there that say I hate rye, I don't like rye,
oh stop
we
it.
are a bourbon drinker's rye. Like if you can make a rye for a bourbon drinker, we are it because we use such a low rye quantity in our mash bill. That's what we call Kentucky style rye. It's a bourbon drinker's rye.
I remember the first time I had your rye, just the original first batch of rye that came out, and wow, it was like wow, because that was when I was first starting to get into rye, because rye is something that I think that it just takes a little time to develop your palate.
Yeah, I think so too.
For it. Because it is a little bit spicier.
It is.
It's a little bit more. If you're first getting into bourbon, sometimes that's not the best one to start with.
The bourbon is sweet and the rye is spicy. So I mean, it's just
And I also I will put money on this. If you say you don't like rye, come in the distillery. Let me blind taste you.
Ooh.
I don't want you to even know. And I'll put let's say 10 samples, 4 of them rye, 6 of them bourbon. I promise you. 2 of those, 3 of those, you're gonna pick out and be like, I love this. And like that's a rye whiskey that you like right there. Yeah,
that's right. Let's write, and we'll get you connected with John so you can go down and check out Peerless Distillery. So
come on down. Yeah. Like I said, half of what I get to do down there is host people. So I love on a little slow day, man. I like to get groups in there and bring them down. And
why don't you give everybody your email address? They can hit you up. And,
actually, our email is like so simple. It is John, JOHN at KentuckyPeerlessAllSpelledOut.com.
Look at this guy.
Going to be like AOL.
Yeah. Or you can follow me on IG as Bourbon Colonel 86.
You can.
It's really funny. So there's another guy that has the tagline Bourbon Colonel on his IG, and we actually met in real life at KBF last year.
Was his name John Wadell?
Yeah. And we had
he talked to himself in a mirror for 3 hours.
We had a little banter about, I tried to be like, hey, what would it take you to get rid of that name? Let me get that IG handle off of it.
Oh, really?
Yeah. But it's funny now, and he's even come back to the distillery and seen me a couple times. He lives in Wisconsin. Funny.
How did you get into whiskey? Like, how did you get into the alcohol world? Because I think we meant to ask that question.
Yeah, we asked
earlier.
how he got into coffee.
Yeah.
We didn't ask how he got into whiskey.
Yeah, how did you get here?
So born and raised here. So obviously I knew about whiskey, knew about bourbon.
Yeah.
I mean, being from Kentucky, it's a big part of our income. It's what you know here. And bartending, man. So I was bartender for several years. Now, when I say bartending, and I always like to state this because I don't want to take anything away from those craft cocktail people, because it's a totally different. I was slinging shots and beer down at 4th Street Live, right? It was,
so he was the bartender of like, I need 3 vodkas.
Yeah, or
traditional bartender.
Yeah, or what was it? Give me a Sex on the Beach, or you know what I mean? Like it was just the
bartenders that we remember when we were younger, because
what do you suggest?
Didn't know that there was that.
Yeah.
Oh man, I'll tell you the best shot you would serve is the bar mat shot, right? You get those people at the end of the night. I'll take anything, man. I got $5. you take that bar mat that you've been making drinks on all night.
God damn.
You empty
Just
that in the
give
cup,
it-
man. We
yeah.
just give it to
There
him.
you go.
Just give it to him. Like, you know what, man? If you want that, so, I mean, you're talking. Yeah, there was no craft to what I was doing. Back then.
That's what John's craft cocktail
Yeah,
was.
yeah, yeah.
Bar mat
Bar
cocktails,
mat shot,
baby.
man.
Oh, here, let's see what you get tonight. I don't know. A couple of people ordered gin. Couple of I don't remember.
And I'd bartend on the weekends, and then I worked for a animal hospital. It was called Almost Home Boarding and Training. So like we had an all pets veterinarian. So we had veterinarian staff, and then we boarded like all different types of animals,
word.
like whatever. We did doggy daycare, all kinds of crazy stuff. But I met through a mutual friend. I met Caleb Kilburn at the time. Like Peerless wasn't even open, right? They were still
Yeah.
construction phase. We became mutual friends, and we were doing like game night together. So I would make cocktails, right? Because I still knew cocktails. We just
Yeah.
and he would cook and whatnot, and we would hang out. And then I remember just started asking him all these questions, like, because he would even ask, right? Because Caleb's big thing was he knew the science. He he wasn't sure, to say, like, can I taste bourbon, right? Can I
Right.
tell you good and bad bourbon? I know how to make it. And we just got talking. He's like, you should really come down to Peerless. He's like, no big deal. If you don't like it, if you don't think it's for you, I understand you have something else. Because I thought I was going to be a veterinarian. I was like, I'm going to work with animals forever. I love it.
Well, we had a veterinarian on our show a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah.
What he thought was a veterinarian.
And
If you haven't heard that episode, the Hemingway episode is really
Yeah.
good.
and dude, I'll never forget, man. So to this day, I remember the first time I ever went down there was a Saturday. They invite me to come down and just kind of see it. And when you walk in and you smell that smell, man, right?
Is this what I'm doing?
It's
You're
the distillery
mesmerized.
smell,
Smell.
and you walk in and you're like, God, this is heaven.
Right? And then when I first started, I was giving tours up front. Like I wasn't even like in production, nowhere like that. It was,
Yeah.
hey, everyone starts here. Once you can give a tour, then we'll move you around. And I think I was giving tours for like 2 weeks, and they're like, come back in production, help us out back here. So I started coming back there, and one of my first jobs ever at the distillery 8 years ago was painting the back dock, like painting red stripes on there, right? And then they sent me through the rick house, because rick house is a really tight space, and it's a brick one down there, but we have these glass windows. Well, when they built these ricks, they built like a tunnel rat hole, right? Like you, as Tommy explains to me in the distillery, he's like, I need you to take this long Phillips head screwdriver, and he's like, look down this rick, and it's a tunnel, like you're on your belly. He's like, you gotta crawl right down through there
my
and pop
God.
open every window. And once you're in, you're in. There's no backing out.
Uh-huh.
And for anybody that hasn't been in a
I
rick
am
house,
out already.
there
I'm
is
done.
cobwebs,
No, this is not
there's
happening.
everything you are crawling
Ain't no
through.
cleaning in a rick house, baby.
Yeah, Pop open. I think they were kind of amazed that I just was like, no questions asked. Like, yeah, put me in that
Yeah,
hole.
you
Like,
were
let me go down there.
Yeah.
Yeah. And just like
They
literally.
went back and looked at each other like, holy shit, what's
Yeah,
wrong with this dude?
This fucking guy, we can get him to
Like-
do anything.
And for the longest time though, I worked part time there, really. So I would go in, I'd work from like 6 a.m. to like 2 or 3 p.m. at Peerless, turn around and leave, and then go work my other job from like 3 to 11, 4 to whatever there at the animal place. And Carson, the owner or the president, didn't know that until like 2 months. He's like, you mean to tell me 5 days you're doing both of these or what? And I was like, yeah. He's like, holy crap.
Yeah, right.
And
what
then
the hell is wrong with you?
yeah. And he's like, but I think he'd respect that, because then
Yeah.
he went back to like, hey man, like I did that for the longest time. Like that's
Yeah.
not easy to do.
Right.
He's like, come on full time with us. And I never looked back. I mean,
Yeah.
it hurt to walk away from the animal, because I've been doing that for like 5 years.
Right.
But I still think it was like one of the best choices now, because now, and even from there, like how that, so worked in production, filling barrels, rolling barrels, product became of age, and Caleb was not freaking out, but he's like, oh my God, like hundreds of barrels, right? I got to taste all this barrels. I don't know what I'm going to do. And I remember walking through the lab one day, like, hey, because he knew like I knew, but he's like, taste this. What do you get? Right. So, obviously you're new to it, so you're spitting out poetry, like, oh, the essence of this sweet
Yeah,
nose with the
absolutely.
herbal florence.
Oh,
And he's
there's
all like,
so much to it.
come back tomorrow. And I'm like, all right, I'll be back tomorrow. Gotten in the tastings, and then I got super nerdy about single barrels, right? Because at that point we're tasting, they're like, what do you think's unique? Like, this needs to be a single barrel. This needs to go into a batch. And we had so much. I remember Caleb gave me like 100 samples. He's like, do you want to take these home over the weekend? I'm like, yes. And he let me take
Yes,
like all
please.
these samples home and grade them, right?
Wow.
Like tell me what you think, taste them.
Yeah.
And it was about a year or so after the Barrell program was open. He's like, do you want to run it? And I was just remember being like, heck yeah, you mean you're going to pay me to drink and hang out with people?
No shit.
Yeah.
Is this a joke?
Joke? Yeah.
Like, really?
And then so now
I'm being punked here, aren't I?
right. And then I got into doing the cooking, adding the water, the grains, distillation. And that's the great thing about the family. The opportunities I was given there would never have been presentable at a bigger distillery, right? Like Sazerac or like Beltray, something like that, because it's just different. So I literally got to learn like A to Z at a distillery, from fermentation to distillation to tasting and everything in a matter of years, which was like super cool, man.
One of your dreams is to open a coffee shop.
Dude, I love it. It's like so growing up, you know, obviously it's a little bit on a time age. I watched Cheers a lot as a kid, man. Like my mom grew up watching that show, and like I remember like just falling in love.
Just to say that bar just went up for sale recently.
I saw. I've been to it in Boston.
Get up there to Boston, baby.
Kind of disappointing because you go down there, it looks nothing like the original
like,
Cheers.
Disappointing.
Not to get off topic. Same thing for San Francisco. Full House. I went out there for work, and I feel like everything Full House showed me was a damn lie, because it looked nothing like that when I was out there.
Right.
It's like, this is not Full House.
Yeah, sorry to catch you off guard, but I just read that not long ago.
But yes, man. So it's hard because I love Peerless. I'm never going to step away from it. I love it too much to ever like divide myself from there. But I would love to put in a coffee shop / like cocktail bar in downtown Louisville.
100%.
Only because I think it'd be great for tourism, because we don't have a barrel aged coffee here, right? So if you're going for a barrel pick in the morning, or you're in town for, where are we going to go in the morning? Let's go try some barrel aged coffee at Stave and Bean, right? But the key is the setup. Most time you go in coffee shops, it's all like cafe style, right?
Very cafe.
I want it set up just like a bar, like Cheers, right? Like I want you, when you come in for your cup of coffee, I want your baristas right there. If you want to sit down there and chat, tell them your problems, like, oh man, I've been on a binger all night. I'm in here getting my cup of coffee, or whatever the case may be. But I want it to be more of that kind of bar environment, because I truly believe, like, with just anything with mental health, like I go to a bar sometimes for therapy, man. Like even if I just don't want to talk to nobody, I'll go up to Bourbon Bistro and sit there and just have a beer, maybe bring my phone crew, and I want that same thing for coffee and whiskey, right? I want you to want to do coffee for maybe like 6 to 2, 6 to 3, because if you're drinking caffeine after that point, you might as well have liquor, in my opinion, right? Like
You're right about
if you're
that.
drinking caffeine after 3 o'clock in the afternoon, man, just get you a
And I have
pour.
this beautiful,
And you'll be in bed by 7.
Yes. And I like to shut down and do like cocktails and nothing like crazy, maybe just be open to like 2 a.m.
Right.
But once again, I want it to be a place where, obviously, the distillery, we're only open for so long. I love hosting, and I love bringing people together. So I want a place where I can have my industry friends, everyone there to enjoy a pour, hang out, maybe have like a little clubhouse upstairs so you can come in and we'll hang out, play some pool or something, sit upstairs.
All right, I'll tell you what. We're going to take a quick break. We're going to have John pick a pour off the shelf, and we'll be right back.
Do you want to win 2 4-day passes to Bourbon and Beyond?
I know I do.
You're not eligible.
That's right, but you are.
Just check us out at firkinpodcast.com/giveaways for your chance to win.
Look at all these great bands coming to Louisville.
Brandy Carlisle.
We got the Avett Brothers.
Bruno Mars.
We got the Killers.
Wayne.
Wayne fucking Newton.
Yeah, I won that.
That's right. Visit firkinpodcast.com/giveaways and find our Bourbon and Beyond 2023 page for your chance to win these 2 4-day passes, and we'll see you there. Cheers. We're back with John Wadell from Peerless, fucking Stave and Bean, this amazing coffee company.
Appreciate it, man. Yeah, this has been an amazing podcast.
Let's talk about the hardest fucking worker in like whiskey and coffee.
No
right here.
shit.
I'm trying, man. The thing about this industry is it's filled with personalities and things. So you really do have to find like your own path and way to kind of stick out a little bit, because once again, there's so many legends.
That's right.
When you think about bourbon and whiskey, that you have to.
Yeah, man.
I don't want to say compete with, because everyone's so friendly,
It's
but
a community, right?
Yeah. You gotta find your own way to stand out. I love the fact that people will call you like, "What are you doing tonight? You want to go for a drink, or can we come by to the distillery?" Or and it's. I always say, like, being in the industry, it's hard to stay at home at night, right? Because it's like you don't have to go every night, but you know what? I can find something to do 7 nights a week,
right?
If I want to.
All right, we're gonna do our pick a pour segment.
John's
And,
had a little bit of time to
he
look
has
through.
had some time to look
and like
through.
most of our guests, he said the one word that I think has been that every guest has said, it's a little overwhelming.
It is like right, like imagine like you're in here and there's a lot of stuff that
That's
I've
kind of
never
the point.
tried
That's
before,
why he
right?
hides the things
Yeah.
in the back. You got to kind of dig through there. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I also love this, man, right? Because like if you had to pick one, like what are you going for? And I
What
think
do you
it's, I think
It's
it tells,
hard, isn't it?
it tells a lot about a person though too. Like
That's right. It
does.
does.
there's plenty of times, and I'm not saying I'm judging you, but I'm going to judge you on what like if you have an access, like what are you going for first?
Yeah, don't think that we're not going to judge
Yeah,
you.
yeah. But I think Chris kind of guided me through this, right? Like he kind of not held my
I
hand.
tried.
But
It
he
wasn't.
he
I didn't
listened.
tell
Yeah.
him which one to pick. I was just trying to guide him through the show.
But he knows I'm a rye fan, and so he has the Scarlet Shade straight rye whiskey, 14 years old. That
Ooh.
obviously I'm gonna have to dabble in.
Yep.
You don't see a lot of 14-year-old rye.
Look at this
out
bottle.
there in this
14-year-old. Look at
orphan barrel.
Look at the beautiful.
This is
picture.
another awesome bottle
Oh.
design right here.
And it's so simple, right? Like I love it.
Yeah.
I love the simplicity of the bottle though,
Yep.
too.
Like,
But
yeah,
the
it's
artwork.
just great. So I was such a huge fan of the Bullet 12-year rye. I mean, gosh, it's 5, 6, 7 years ago, maybe.
Yeah.
It was a long, long time ago, and it was one of my favorite ryes. I don't know if that's one of the ones that just got me like kind of like going into it. That first one I've tasted, I was like, oh wow, this is great.
Yeah.
And then someone said, oh, you got to get this. This is probably going to be the closest to that 12-year because as far as I know it, that's never coming back out again.
Yeah.
So
I've got to be honest.
good
I've
pick.
never heard of this.
Oh, you never heard of Orphan
Orphan
Barrel?
No.
Oh man, that's got a story, buddy. And maybe John knows a little bit. I don't want to do the story wrong because it is. It's deep.
I don't know much about them. I just know they have like that's like 10, 12, really. Like they're not like a huge, but they do like a lot of like cool. They're big in the promoting. They're very transparent about like we buy our barrels, right? Like
Yeah.
they don't make stuff. I
Okay.
don't think necessarily, right? I could be out. Apologize if I'm.
All right. So what we are doing is we're gonna pop this Orphan Barrel 14-year-old. What was the name? I'm sorry. Scarlet
What's it?
Shade straight rye whiskey. It's 90 proof, aged 14 years.
I know this is such like a big dilemma though too. I'm a tater for a good sticker. I don't care if I don't like.
That's right.
Even if
I'll
I've
let you
tried
pour,
it
John. You can pour as much as you want, buddy.
and I don't like it, and you have an awesome sticker on there, I'm buying the bottle.
See, marketing at its finest.
I'm telling you.
Yeah.
So let's cheers our last on-camera drink because stuff
Oh,
is going
man.
to change here in a little bit.
Yeah, you got that.
So thank you again, John, for coming on.
That smells. So
Oh wow, it's a really bright note.
Holy
You know,
moly.
for a 14-year-old, it's a really bright note.
good. If you're a rye drinker, this is to me what I would call like a rye drinker's rye. It's got all.
Oh
the,
yeah, the nose is just spot on for a good rye.
That thing sticks through the entire drink. Like,
Oh wow,
nose
man.
to finish.
That's good.
yeah, that's perfect.
And it's a 90 proof. Anybody out
That's
there?
90 proof.
But let me tell you, it's got the flavor of a barrel
It's got
strength.
a flavor of
whiskey.
a
Yeah.
barrel strength. So there's a lot of that awesome spice that's really hanging, and that finish is hanging
damn.
around.
Love it.
Damn, for a 90 proof.
Bottled with.
Yeah, I told
pride.
John when we were going through, I said this is one that I haven't had yet. I haven't opened yet. So I opened it at one point in time just to smell it as I was pulling through it, because if you're usually a bourbon or a whiskey guy, one of our favorite things to do, not only just drink whiskey, we love
Like the
to
smell.
nose whiskey.
And I know this is probably gonna be another one, but it's you don't come across, it even says on the label, you don't come across like old rye like that. This was distilled in Indiana, which means pretty much one thing, MGP. And I'm sorry if you're out there and you hate on MGP, grow up.
We've had a lot
Grow
of
up.
MGP
Grow
going on the past
up.
few episodes.
I know,
And,
and this coming from somebody in Kentucky,
yeah.
right? Like MGP makes an amazing stuff. There's a reason people buy
Great
from
whiskey.
them. Yeah.
right.
And some
Great
people,
whiskey.
we've all met the people like, oh, it's MGP.
I've been like, yeah, all right, well then put it in the cart.
Sign me
I
up,
mean,
man. Yeah, like,
It's MGV, put it in the cart. Let's try it.
We highlighted that in the last episode.
It needs to
Yeah.
be highlighted in every episode
Yeah.
because there's still, to this day, there's still sleepers on MGP. I think it's gotten better than John probably when you and I first, because we both similarly got into this industry around the same time.
Yeah,
Right.
And
yeah.
it has gotten better over the years. There's no doubt. But we
Yeah.
still have those people out there who's like, oh, it's MGP. It can't be good. You're
Right.
wrong.
Yeah, MGP kind of paved the way for what we call sourcing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like
Yeah.
you started to sell, you need some barrels. Usually, first place you're probably going to, if you can't find somewhere in Kentucky, you're going to MGP. Like, what do you got?
Well, it's going to take you, what, X amount of years before you can even start to do anything.
And I love, and it's aged at Sitzelweller Distillery. Another great place, man.
I mean, these are great
little
things.
Place right here in Kentucky,
right? So I mean, they can make it in Indiana, but they know where to bring it to age it.
That's right.
But I also say, like, just from being in the industry, and this is no knock because, like I said, I get it, marketing everything. I love how it says "Forgotten Barrel" found in the back of the livery house.
Wait.
I love marketing.
Who actually forgot it? I don't know. Yeah, that's right.
I know the government. The government didn't forget that barrel was there.
Well, I'll tell you what, John. We found out that your favorite movie is Happy Gilmore.
I love it, man. I go golfing almost every weekend.
Do you really?
Yeah.
All right.
I am the worst golfer. I've always to go out there.
Well, then you and I are going to fit along because
they're so nice and welcoming. They appreciate this, right? Like, if you want a good time, you ride my golf cart. But Happy Gilmore, man, it's that feel-good movie, right?
That's right.
Like, you put on Bad Day, maybe see something in the background.
Just laugh, man.
But yeah, I think of, like, SNL, right? Like, it's back when, like, Billy Madison came out.
Man.
Like, those
I mean,
that
was kind of pinnacle to us. Those two movies, when they came out,
you're goddamn right.
I'll never forget my grandpa, huge golf fan, loved golf, right? Like, old school, right? We're talking, like, Legend of Bagger Van Sticks. I remember, like, so excited when Happy Gilmore came out. I mean, I was in grade school. I was like, you gotta watch this golf movie. He was so effing pissed after watching that movie. He's like, this isn't golf. I'm like, oh my God, he's really mad about this. Yeah.
Man.
And you can't beat Shooter McGat. Like, I don't know, just such a great flick.
Look at him bringing in the names already.
Yeah.
Look at this guy.
Which goes into, we got a trivia game for you.
That's right, buddy.
All right.
Happy Gilmore.
Happy Gilmore. I have 10 questions for you.
Okay.
Question number 1. Which fast food restaurant did Happy make
Subway.
a commercial?
He said your questions are shit.
No, he's starting soft. I can feel it. He's like, I'm gonna throw him a little softball under pitch question.
This is
number 2. What celebrity does Happy play
Bob
with?
Barker.
You need to make harder questions.
Where did Happy's mom move to because she hated hockey?
Ooh. There's a good one.
Oh, he came out the gun quick.
Hold on,
the
give me a
first
thing.
two.
I didn't actually know that.
Now he can't. Oh, wait a minute.
Is it Sunnyside?
No. What?
The nurse. She moved to assistant living home.
She moved to
assistant
No,
living.
no.
Happy's mom.
Mom.
Oh, Egypt, because there wasn't a hockey rink. There wasn't a hockey rink.
All right.
Shit.
He got that. I did not expect him to get that. How did Chubbs lose his hand?
Alligator bit it off. Pro Tour, where they were going to let him join the Pro Tour.
Then what happened?
Hopped up, bit my damn hand off. Wouldn't let me join the Pro Tour.
Chubbs got revenge, though, didn't he?
He did. Well, he didn't. Happy did.
Happy
did.
What
Happy
happened?
got his revenge.
Happy ended up killing the alligator, but he showed the present to Chubbs, which then he fell out a second-story window.
God, what a good movie.
How many times do you watch this fucking movie?
Oh, what's this movie? Like from 97, 96? 96,
97 at least.
I've had over 20 years.
How much money did Happy offer the nursing home supervisor to take special care of his grandma?
So if you look at the bill in the actual hand, I believe it's only $1, but I think it was a $5 bill he was giving him. But I believe, like, if you look in his hand in that movie, it was only $1, like $1 bill he tried to give this man.
You are correct.
Yeah.
He offered him $1.
Yeah.
That's all right. Yeah.
That's impressive about your movie.
Wow. It's pretty good. All right. Why did Happy decide to play golf?
In the first place?
Yes. What was the reason?
Because his grandma lost her home. She didn't pay her taxes for years.
Jesus Christ.
She would have, but she didn't have any money.
You didn't make these questions.
This guy is crushing it. All right.
We should have gone like a much deeper pool
Damn it.
into this episode.
All right. I think this is going to throw him off because of what he said.
Okay.
I guarantee he gets this.
Which actor actually plays the male nurse at Happy's grandma's
Ben
nursing
Stiller.
home?
no way he wasn't getting that. There's no way.
You son of a bitch.
You want a little trivia for you real quick? On this movie?
Yeah.
You know the Mista lady that he hit with his car? That's his mother in real life.
No way.
Swear to God, yeah. That's his actual mother.
I did not know that.
Now the
Mista.
guest has taken over the game.
Damn it.
Mista,
Mista.
get me out of here.
All right.
It's his mom.
That's his mom in real life.
You know, I wrote Adam Sandler to try to get him on my podcast. He didn't write me back, John.
Maybe this will encourage him. I'm a huge fan, Adam. We even tried to get you in the distillery. We made a special side label sticker for the bottle we were going to give you and everything.
See, look, he tried. So
Adam.
maybe we both go at the same time.
Bro, seriously.
Well,
Hey,
Adam.
look, we'll take you to Peerless. We'll do the podcast. Get to drink all kinds of whiskey.
Bro, come to Louisville and
I'm your
just have a
number
good
one
time, man.
fan.
Yeah. we'll see if you can answer
Sure.
Brian's Happy Gilmore Twitter.
This guy's about to go 10 for 10
Is
on
he,
Happy
though?
Gilmore.
Is he, though?
I don't know. We'll
See.
see. What did Happy's ex-girlfriend do for a living?
School teacher.
Ooh.
Her finger painting
Yeah,
sucked.
why don't you get better at being a school teacher?
I'm just kidding. You know how I get when I get on.
What was Happy's hockey record of note for the school team?
Only one that tried to stab anybody. Was it? I forget the exact amount of numbers, though.
Oh.
Over 100 times? 1,000 times? Something like that?
With what?
His hockey skate.
That's right.
The only person ever tried to stab anybody with my hockey skate.
The only person
Yep.
ever tried to stab anyone with a hockey skate. All right.
Last one.
When Happy plays miniature golf with Chubbs, what is the prop that Happy gets angry at?
The clown.
You're
You're going to die, clown.
Ding, 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 ding. Look at
clown.
this guy. Ah, 10
Well,
for 10.
He destroyed that. And let me say to my boy
God
Eric
damn.
Gibson, he did a much better job than your Armageddon one.
That's right. Eric,
I don't know if I should be proud or happy that I nailed all.
I think we're going to have
Or
to.
proud or
Yeah.
disappointed.
Hey, buddy,
myself.
we all have our comfort movies and comfort shows that just always take us back, make it easy to go to sleep sometimes, all of that.
I'm telling you, like literally when he was like, sorry, I was like, I'm running through like every question he could possibly like, do I know the answer to this one? What would he ask me? All right, I got this one. I got this one.
Such a good movie, though.
Ah.
Such a good movie. John, thank you so much for coming on
Dude,
the
had a
podcast
blast here,
today.
man. Had a
I'm
blast.
so glad that you did. Are you going to come back?
Oh, heck yeah, man.
Hell yeah, man.
Damn straight.
I'm going
We're
to talk to
gonna
Macaulay
Yeah.
and his dark arts program that
Oh,
he's got
yeah,
going
man.
on when I come.
Do we
Definitely
wanna-
wanna be
do we
on.
wanna sprinkle just like
Yeah,
just
yeah,
a little-
yeah.
just
Give
a
us a
little
little
seed.
insight
I don't want to.
on
I don't want to.
We're not going to steal his thunder.
Still all his thunder, but he's a good buddy of mine. Love him to death. But Macaulay from Willing to Sheriff in my notes, he's been running their barrel program, doing the thing for years over there. Has a new project he's working on called Dark Arts
I love
Whiskey.
the name, by the way.
Yeah, man. So they're sourcing barrels. I mean, very open about it. They're blending, doing some cool, unique stuff. And if anybody's had the pleasure of going to do a single barrel tasting with him, or just
He's
learning
unreal.
his palate and how he discovers and tastes whiskey, super excited for this man to come out and do it because
Yeah.
he's gonna kill it.
That's right.
And he's what I love about him is right, like, and nothing against anybody else, but he's not your average wit, right? Like he is.
He's a,
Marches to the beat of his own drum. is how I would say, man.
he's a
Yeah.
very eccentric
yeah,
person.
yeah, yeah.
And I love that guy.
Bourbon Swami,
love
man.
that guy.
Yeah.
Bourbon
Hell yeah.
Swami on Instagram. Go follow him. Just look at the crazy stuff that guy posts. But we actually called him during the break, and he has
Yeah.
agreed,
That's right.
he has agreed to be on this episode.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome guy, man. Follow him. It's the Bourbon Swami on Instagram. Just look at his stories and posts, man. You'll get it. You'll get it.
Hell yeah.
Thanks, Sean. So, John, before we close it out, man, where can we find you? What can we find? Anything that's coming up? What do you got going on, buddy?
Yeah. So you can, if you're free, if I'm free, stop in the distillery Monday through Friday. We're down on 120 North 10th Street in Louisville, Kentucky, right in the heart of downtown. You can usually just come in, ask for me. If I'm not doing anything, I'll always will take the time to come out and step out, talk to you, maybe give you a little tasting if I'm not busy. Or you can find me on Instagram, BourbonColonel_86. I take pride in my Instagram.
Yeah, you do.
I'm not like a huge social media guy, but I like my Instagram. But yeah, or email me. It's John, JOHN at KentuckyPeerless.com. Or you can find me at john@staveandbean.com for all your coffee needs. And visit our website, staveandbean.com, www.staveandbean.com. But yeah, we sell at the distillery. Come in, stop in at your local Kroger's. They will take care of you from your whiskey to coffee needs. Some of them even have our coffee in the liquor store, so you don't have to make 2 stops for it, man. And like I said, just come taste Chris's palate. I know it sounds so weird to say, but I love saying that. Like, come taste their palate, man, because that's what they're doing when they come in there.
I'm with you, buddy.
But other than that, yeah, come distillery, Instagram, reach out. I'm usually pretty good at responding. Now, if you text me, I get this a lot. I'm horrible at texting. Call me. Even if you have to call me 3-4 times in a row, call me. I will eventually.
Really bad at it, by the way,
dude. It's I'm not trying to sound like overwhelming or like cool, but like. Between the texts and emails you get daily and stuff like that, it's just it's
glad
hard.
somebody else said it, John.
But, well, you gotta think text can take 20 minutes where I can do in a phone call in 2.
That's right.
Explain me your needs.
Sorry,
tell me what you want.
Sorry, John and I are very old.
yeah. Let's just get this over with.
Though.
Calendar invite. Send me calendar invite. Anything, calendar invites.
That's right. He'll just deny it.
Yeah.
I do not want to be on a calendar.
If it's not on my calendar invite, I'm gonna forget.
John, thanks again for coming on. Brian, close us out, baby.
Yeah, man. Thanks, John. Not only the man of the people, but also Happy Gilmore expert. Look at this guy. 10 out of 10. I mean, let's give it everything with this guy.
We need that golf clap right now.
That's okay.
Man.
We can put that in editing.
We're piping this in. Thanks to the listeners for tuning in. Find us on YouTube at youtube.com/@FirkinPodcast. Questions or comments, send those to mailbag@FirkinPodcast.com. Visit our Patreon to become a founding member at patreon.com/FirkinPodcast. Subscribe and rate us on your podcast platform of choice, and make sure to share it with a friend. And until next time, let's raise a glass to the stories behind the drinks, fellas.
We
These
always
are all
raise an
empty.
empty glass here all the time. See you next
Cheers,
time.
baby.
Cheers.